Conservatives on the Supreme Court appeared wary about weighing in on partisan electoral maps Tuesday. In two landmark cases, the High Court is considering whether congressional districts in North Carolina and Maryland were set by partisan gerrymandering. In North Carolina, Republicans are accused of giving their party an overwhelming advantage in the past decade. In Maryland, Democrats are accused of doing the same. A decision in either case could change the way legislatures controlled by one party determine what their districts look like. The former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, spoke outside of the Supreme Court about the case.
I would do anything to keep it the #1 country in the world. And this is why I'm so excited to be here today and to fight the gerrymandering and to say that we must terminate gerrymandering. We have to take that power away from the politicians and give it back to the people. Because let's not forget, our Constitution starts with the first three words, not we the politicians, but it says we the people. We the people. We the people.
Okay, Thomas Wolfe joins me now from Washington. He's counsel for the Democracy Program at the Brennan Center for Justice. Tom, thanks so much for being with us. In both of these cases, it was no secret why politicians were drawing the maps the way they were. Could you explain how both states were able to redraw maps in their favor?
So in both these cases, the party that was in control of the map drawing process, Republicans in North Carolina, Democrats in Maryland, set out and said expressly, we want to take as many seats as we possibly can. We want to max them out, and we want to lock them in for a whole decade. They're able to do that by using sophisticated mapping technology combined with information about how people voted in the past to create an extreme, durable partisan advantage.
Well, the Supreme Court has declined 5 times to intervene in partisan gerrymandering cases. Why are these cases different?
Well, for starters, these cases are incredibly extreme. In the past, we've seen gerrymandering. What we haven't seen is gerrymandering like we've seen this decade, where, as I said, one party takes entire control of the process, and they use that control to lock in an advantage that's going to last a whole decade. Now, the court did have a similar fact pattern in front of it in Wisconsin last term, but things are even more different from that case now. In North Carolina, for instance, the people who were in charge of drawing the maps said, and you can look this up on YouTube, in front of the whole state, we are trying to draw an extreme partisan gerrymander. We only are making it a 10-3 advantage for us because we can't figure out how to make it 11-2.
Wow, that's incredible. Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh posed the question of whether the court should intervene when states have taken it upon themselves to address the problem. Why is this a federal issue over a state one?
Courts need to get involved here for a few reasons. First of all, even if legislation passes, it won't pass in time for the upcoming round of redistricting in 2021. So any place that hasn't already reformed their redistricting processes potentially is going to see a rerun of what we've seen this past decade, but at an even larger scale. Everyone has the playbook for doing extreme gerrymanders now, and if they have the opportunity, they'll do it.
Well, a ruling is due by the end of June. What are the potential repercussions either way?
The court has an opportunity in these cases to finally put some guardrails in place around the most extreme partisan gerrymanders. This isn't going to fix everything that's wrong with the redistricting process, but it does have the opportunity to take the worst maps out of the equation for this coming decade. If the court doesn't act, and thus far, as you said, the court hasn't acted now for decades, we face some potentially very severe consequences, and these are not just consequences for our democratic process in that it will make it harder for voters to elect representatives that are truly representative of them and accountable to them, but it also creates some risks for the Supreme Court, which risks appearing less legitimate and more partisan by letting these partisan shenanigans go on, and also creates problems for our bigger democratic system of governance, because when one party locks in its control, it starts to melt down the other branches of government. That's not democracy. That's not what the American Constitution guarantees.
Incredibly high stakes when it comes to this. Thomas Wolfe, Thomas, thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.